Hey, HappiDaze here, and today's video we are looking at a new letter that was released yesterday from the OPTC dev team. Let's dive into it, see what they're going to kind of say for what's going on for 2025, go from there. Again, I appreciate you guys sticking around. Obviously, my voice still isn't 100%, but I really miss not getting videos out for you guys, so please bear with me. Hopefully another day or two, my voice will be 100%. We'll be back to doing the normal video schedule that we have, and we'll be rocking. But until then, let's go break down the dev letter that they sent. So, obviously, they're saying, hey, everyone, thank you guys so much for supporting the game during the 10th anniversary event. We're heading towards, obviously, the 11th anniversary, just a few months out there, and then we're going to be kind of off to the races there. So, what they're promising here is a variety of content. So, hopefully, I'm really hoping it's better than the Memories of the Straw Hats events that they did. Players want variety of content in OPTC, right? The advantage of multiple pieces of content are, one, you can obviously get resources like level limit break stuff, gems, things like that. But it gives you a chance to use your legends for something else, right? Or the units that you pull outside of just using them for PKA or Kizuna or TM. It gives you value, right? When people pull these units on Sugarfest, they want to get value out of those units, right? And how do you get the value out of those units? Making events that not only can they use them at that time, but they can use them in a variety of different modes, and they can use them more than just that current event. So having a variety of content will hopefully keep things nice and fresh. We'll have to see. They didn't give us any details of what that variety of content is. Is it more GARP challenge type stuff? Are they going to bring back some Coliseums? Are they going to have, different changes to some of the existing game modes that are out there to make it a little bit more appealing, or have some more gimmicks? We'll have to wait and see. But at least they're promising a variety of content. So we'll have to see. I'm hoping that that's more than just the default 4 game modes that we have going out today. So they didn't say exactly their full roadmap in terms of what changes they want to do, what they're going to be doing for One Piece Treasure Cruise, but they did mention kind of 3 specific areas that they wanted to call out. So let's go ahead and just get into each of those, break down, and see what it says. So the first one is regarding the adjustment to the period for trustee characters. So in PKA, usually the legends that are made for PKA, the end of the month legend batch, will typically only really be used for that month, maybe possibly the next month. But usually because of how the content cycle is in OPTC, once the character is out, like after the next month, they're really not as valuable to use. So what they're doing here is they're extending that period to not just be the kind of the 1 month, which kind of is now. They can extend that out to 3 months, which is actually a pretty fair thing to do, right? That's good. One, you can use the legends that you pull to get more value and more content. You'd love to see that. That makes legends more appealing to pull. And it gives you a reason to pull because you're not just using it for just that month's set of content, right? So that's really good. Obviously, they had been making adjustments to the PKA in terms of how things work in there. But we'll see when this actually takes place. It isn't live like right now, so we're gonna obviously implement this sometime in the future, and they'll let us know in game. But the fact that they're trying to make characters more relevant for more than one event is great. You'd love to see that. It is interesting that it's just the PKA game mode, especially when I think that a lot more people would like to see, rare recruits and things like that in TM and Kizuna last more than just one banner as well. Maybe they'll bring that into future updates after they get this out, but I really think the reason that they just went PKA is probably because of the length of the event, right? PKA usually runs for about a month, somewhere between 26 and 30 days, depending on how the month falls. So having that character and having multiple characters, right? Because when you start getting past level 200, a lot of times you can't use the full boosted unit, or the full boosted batch doesn't always help, right? So having older legends that are more, can give you still point boosters, can help you get the him turtles, that's just really good, right? That's what it's all about, is making sure you get the him turtles, get the max rewards, and get everything pretty quick. And having characters kind of be relevant for 3 months does that. And it gives you more of a reason to pull on the PKA banners, right? Today, I personally usually don't pull on the PKA Sugo banners because there's not a lot of value. Once that month is gone, the legend is kind of useless at that point. So that's good. Gives people more a reason to pull, and if you do pull and you get lucky, you'll be able to use that character for multiple months. So that is definitely a welcome addition there. For number 2, improvements to crew edit and character power-up. So they're planning to improve the UX and make it easier to crew edit power and power-up characters there. So, I don't know. Personally, I think the power-up makes sense how it is now. You can go in, you can choose, what area you want. You can level it up that way. So it'll be interesting to see how they make it better. Obviously, in some other games, whether it's Dokkan or some of those other ones. They have different ways to do it. I'm personally fine with how the power up is done. Obviously, could use a little bit more explanation or what each of those different boxes do, right? Whether it's cotton candy or whether it's potential abilities or whether it's just the tomes, things like that. Like, yeah, they could explain it better, but I'm actually pretty satisfied with how the power up is. So whatever they do, hopefully it doesn't make it worse. So yeah, we'll have to see what it is. Obviously, they don't give any examples of what they're going to be doing, so we'll have to wait and see there. And in terms of the editing the crew, so it would be nice. So they introduced the concept of the filter, right? So you could easily find units that can meet some of the gimmicks of a stage. It'd be really cool on the crew power-up stage, I think, or on the crew edit stage, if it would kind of be like, hey, we suggest these units based on what kind of debuffs and things like that are going on in the content, without you having to go in and manually filter out, filter the character list for certain kind of debuffs, right? If it just kind of did that for you, I think that'd be really cool. It's kind of tough because like the crew edit, it's really just picking your units and the supports, right? So I don't know like how they're gonna really make that better. So I'm hoping it's more focused on things like filtering, sorting, and just kind of expanding that, because that filtering was actually a really important mechanic that wasn't in OPTC before. You had to use the OPTC DB if you want to filter out who did what in terms of specials and debuffs. And when they add that to game, that was huge. So I'm hoping that it's something like that where they can kind of really expand out that filtering capability, so you can get your teams built quicker, especially for newer players who might not know like what do I do for this piece of content with this debuff. It'll just make it that much clearer. So hoping that they do some cool stuff there. But again, we'll have to see. There'll be an upcoming letter where they actually specify what the changes are. So for now, we'll just have to wait and kind of see what they are. So the final note they talked about is the user feedback. So every year they give a survey. You get gems for filling out the survey, so it's good to fill it out. A lot of the questions are, bubble questions. What do you like better? What would you want to see improved? And you can kind of, choose what you want there. There's not a lot of free-form text fields except for towards the end of the survey. So I don't know how much good knowledge they'll get out of these. I don't know how many people are actually putting lengthy comments in there. Obviously, we have people like Toadski and Stump who are giving feedback directly to Bandai. But yeah, I'd imagine that a lot of people aren't filling out those comment fields in depth on the survey. So one thing they do note here, however, and I just want to, as a software developer myself, like I can understand, like people are going to read this note and say, some of the suggestions will be challenging and require a lot of time to implement. So, right. So the problem with having a game like One Piece Treasure Cruise that is 10 plus years old is that there's probably a lot of legacy backend code in there, right? So to make big sweeping changes to things like combat or the UI, there's a lot of risk in there, right? There's a lot of technical debt that gets accumulated over the years, and then figure out how to merge that, integrate that with the existing, buffs and debuffs and everything else that exists in the game. Like, it's very easy to break the game. So there's a lot of probably regression testing that has to go into there. So I'm glad that Bandai said, hey, listen, we know that there's some really easy quick hitters, right? So for example, let's say they want to be able to make units last for more than, a month for TM, for Kazuna. In the back end of the game, it's probably just a database, right? And it probably has a column that says, hey, this is the ID of the event, and this is the characters who are boosted for that, right? And that's how you can see the different colored characters when you're doing your teams for boosted units when those events are live, right? So some things are going to be easy, and hopefully they can get a lot of those really quick quality of life things out pretty early. But yeah, I think we have to be patient, right? And just to give you an example, when the filtering came out, right, the ability to filter based on specials or supports or what units can do, that was a huge feature, and that took quite a long time to come out. I think when it came out, it had been probably 5+ years that people were asking for something like that, because OPTC database existed and it did that, right? So obviously for things like that, it takes a lot of time. So I'm glad that Bandai is acknowledging that, yeah, we can probably get some quick wins out there, but for some of these more advanced things, it's gonna take time, right? So I think we just have to be patient. We have to kind of, support them, give feedback of what we think of some of these changes that they're doing. and just make sure that we kind of keep them accountable, right? We don't have to say, yeah, you're not going to get like a really big feature out in 2 months, right? Maybe it takes 6 months to roll out a big feature, right? Or a new big update. But that's just the reality of the development of things today and how it is. So glad they acknowledge that they're reading the feedback. Hopefully they're taking it to heart. Do some quick wins. They'll probably have 3 or 4 big stories that might take multi-months to actually get out. So hopefully they can implement some of those. But it's good they're committing to actually helping out the players, making sure they're getting the survey results, analyzed and taken care of. So we do like that, and of course they thank everyone for playing. So that's pretty much the letter. They did have those final slide here, so it just kind of gives us the upcoming event. So obviously we have PKA, which runs through the end of January. We have Super Pirate Rumble that starts tomorrow or today, depending on when you watch this video. So you just want to make sure you do your best in Championship. If you didn't pull, obviously on the Fuji and I forget the other guy's name, Green Bull. I can't think of his name. Sorry about that. If you didn't pull on the Fuji and Green Bull banner, then obviously you're not going to have probably a lot of the boosters. Maybe you got lucky and pulled on the waifu banner. We're able to get the int version. They are boosted. A bunch of the New Year's Legends are boosted. So just make sure you're building teams. Obviously for when you get up to Championship and you kind of get higher ranked, people are going to put worse teams up front so people can kind of beat the teams with the boosted team and get higher. But just know, like that's kind of the game plan, the strategy. Just throw as many people as you can that are boosted onto your Pirate Rumble teams. Make sure they have some synergy, and then try to look for teams that are kind of auto-generated or aren't really having any synergy that you can easily beat for the points. Obviously, TM starts on the 15th, so I'm expecting that we'll probably have some banner info for upcoming TM by the end of the week. So we'll know what unit it is. In terms of the legend, what the rare recruits are, and we'll kind of go from there. And at the end of the month, you obviously have the Kazuna Clash. So that's kind of the upcoming schedule. So a lot of events going on, which is always good. And hopefully we'll get some more details on some of this variety of content that Bandai is talking about going forward. So that is going to wrap it up for me today. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, being patient with me. Apologize that my voice still isn't 100% up to normal. I'm trying to get up and back as quick as I can, but sometimes it just doesn't work like that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below, like, what you thought of the letter. Like, do you think Bandai is going to actually make an effort to get additional updates and quality of life content out? Or do you think it's going to be the same content cycle that it always has been? And that it's, you might get some attention for a little bit, but, you'll see it kind of slowly dwindle down by the end of the year. Love to hear your thoughts and feedback. I'm more of the optimistic, so I do think Bandai will be able to hopefully deliver some big stuff in this year. That's just me. Let me know how you think. I'll probably have a video out tomorrow, hopefully, on whether you should be pulling on that banner that has the Fuji and the green belt. Obviously, there are a couple situations where I think you should, but otherwise, you probably shouldn't. But I'll have a full video kind of explaining that out tomorrow, breaking down the Sugo, what the units are, what the units do, and then we'll kind of go from there. So thank you guys. As always, until next time, be kind to each other. Thanks.